Once, Prajapati, the creator of the universe, announced, "The Self is the sinless, ageless, and deathless one. It has no sorrow, nor hunger, nor thirst. The goal of all its desire is truth. Truth is the one thing worthy of its resolve. It is this self that has to be sought after. It alone one should seek to know. And one who seeks after the self and knows it gains possessions of all the worlds, wins all that is desirable." Both the gods and the demons heard this announcement and thought, "We must know this Atma or self and seek this knowledge that promises all the worlds." Hence, Indra, the king of the gods, and Virochan, the leader of the demons, approached Prajapati with all the humility of a disciple and requested him to impart this knowledge to them. Prajapati accepted them as his disciples and asked them to stay with him for 32 years. Both Indra and Virochan stayed on, living the life of a brahmachari. At the end of the period, Prajapati called both of them and said, "Dear ones, the person visible in the pupil of the eye is Atma. This Atma is the Brahma, the immortal and fearless. Go and see yourself in a pan of water and then tell me what you saw." Next day, when Prajapati asked the both of them to narrate their experience, they both said, "Lord, we saw the self entirely as we are, the very image even to the very hairs and nails. Go and adorn yourself and then look into the pan of water and tell me about your experience," said Prajapati to both of them. Happy, they went and adorned themselves, looked into the pan of water, came back, and replied to Prajapati, "Revered sir, we saw ourselves well dressed, well groomed, and well adorned." Very good. This is Atma, the immortal and fearless, the Brahma. Thus confirmed Prajapati to them. Both Indra and Virochan went happy and very much satisfied in their heart. Prajapati saw them going away and exclaimed to himself, "Whether they are gods or demons, they will inevitably perish if they are satisfied with the mere reflection of reality." Virochan went to the demons and taught them this knowledge by saying that this bodily self is all that we need to know and serve and glorify. This is the supreme knowledge by which one obtains the world here and hereafter. Indra was different from Virochan. He realized that something is wrong with what he has just learned about the Atma. He felt uneasy. He thought to himself that as water reflects a well-adorned body, so does it reflect a blind man if he is blind, a defective man if he is defective. If a body is destroyed or dead, then there is no reflection of a living body. How then could the body or its reflection be said to be the deathless Atma? He went back to Prajapati and said, "Lord, I see really nothing worthy in this body or in its reflection. Please give me the true knowledge about the Atma." Prajapati was happy with Indra and asked Indra to stay with him for another 32 years. At the end of that period, Prajapati called him and said, "That which moves about in the dreams is Atma." Indra seemed to be satisfied and made his way to the abode of the gods. But as he went along, a doubt crept into his mind again, and he thought, "How can the dream self be Atma? In dreams one suffers, one is wounded, one weeps when afflicted. The fearless and sinless Atma cannot be subject to such happenings. This does not seem to be the truth." This time as well, something is wrong with what I have learnt. He came back and prostrated himself before Prajapati, requesting him to explain the truth of Atma. As always, Prajapati told him to stay with him for another period of 32 years. Indra was all prepared. At the end of this period, Prajapati called Indra and said, "The self who is fully pleased and is in a happy mood during deep sleep is the Atma." Indra was satisfied and went home. But before he reached his place, doubt overwhelmed him again, and he said to himself, "In a dreamless sleep, the self does not know itself. It is not conscious of its own existence. How then can the unconscious self be the Atma when it is described as the ever-luminous one, ever-conscious one?" He came back again to Prajapati and reported to him about his difficulties. This time Prajapati was even more pleased with Indra and told him to spend 5 more years with him. After the period was over, Prajapati called Indra beside him and said, "O Indra, you have deserved the knowledge of the highest truth by your persistent effort and intense inquisitiveness." Saying this, Prajapati revealed to Indra the part of the highest knowledge for which he was ready at that point of time. This body is subject to death, yet it embodies the deathless and bodiless Atma. This embodied self falls into the trap of all dualities like pleasure and pain. But the bodiless Atma is not touched by any duality. So long as the Atma resides in the body and attaches itself to them, he seems limited and restricted. But again, when freed from the body, becomes one with the infinite spirit. When the Atma leaves the body, it goes wandering freely in the infinite worlds. The eye, the ear, the senses, the mind are there only in order that the Atma may see and hear and think. It is on account of the Atma and in the Atma that things and beings exist. He is the truth and the final repository of all existence. This time, when Indra went back to impart this knowledge to the gods, he had no doubt. The gods received the true knowledge and therefore live in the full knowledge of their self. And because Virochan was satisfied with the knowledge of the body as the self, the demons, even today, live in ignorance, considering the body as the self.